Welcome, learners, to another deep dive. Today, we're embarking on a journey into one of the most sought-after travel destinations, the Schengen area. Our aim is to cut through the complexity, really, and give you crystal clear guidance on what the Schengen area is, which countries are part of it, and most importantly, how you, our listener, can significantly boost your chances of a successful visa application.
That's exactly right. For anyone dreaming of exploring Europe, whether it's for leisure, business, or maybe study, understanding the Schengen zone is, well, it's the foundational first step. It's an incredible expanse across multiple countries that have effectively removed their internal border controls, allowing for, seamless travel once you're inside.
Okay, let's unpack this for a moment. What exactly defines the Schengen area, and which nations are we actually talking about when we say Schengen?
Right. The Schengen area is this vast and pretty unique region. Currently, it comprises 29 countries, and this includes a really broad spectrum of European nations, everything from the Nordic landscapes of Finland and Norway to the Mediterranean charms of Greece and Italy, stretching across countries like France, Germany, Spain, and, well, many others. They're all united under a common visa policy. It truly offers an unparalleled travel experience.
That's an enormous area to explore. Wow, and it's really no surprise millions are drawn to it. But for many, especially those looking to travel from countries like India, the visa process itself can feel quite daunting, can't it? So what's our ultimate mission with this deep dive today?
Well, our mission is to equip you with the most crucial, actionable insights for a, let's say, meticulously organized visa application. We're sharing strategies to truly raise your approval odds, particularly for applicants from India, but honestly, the principles we discuss are valuable for pretty much anyone applying for a Schengen visa. We'll cover everything from your initial application strategy right through to what you might expect if you're called for an interview.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for anyone planning their trip. While, yes, every Schengen nation follows a common visa policy, we've seen that the actual approval rates for Indian travelers can vary quite significantly between different countries. So what should our listeners maybe consider when choosing which embassy to apply through?
Yeah, it's a fascinating dynamic, actually. Our observations for 2024 show that certain countries demonstrated, well, notably higher approval rates for Indian travelers. So if your travel plans offer some flexibility, you might strategically consider applying through embassies, like, say, Belgium. They had an impressive 90.6% approval rate. Or Germany and Italy, both sitting at 88.7%. Or even Switzerland at 87.9%. Now, this isn't just about picking a lucky country. It often reflects factors like embassy resources or maybe specific processing approaches they use. And this immediately brings up a critical question for multi-country trips. How do you decide where to apply when your journey involves several destinations?
That's exactly what I was thinking. So for someone planning, a grand tour across Europe, hitting multiple spots, how do they navigate this crucial decision? Where do they submit that application?
Right, good question. You'll need to apply at the consulate of the country that is your sole destination. That's the easy case. But if you're visiting multiple countries, it's the country where you'll spend the most time. And if the duration of your stay is equal in multiple countries, maybe 2 weeks here, 2 weeks there, then it's the country where you'll first enter the Schengen area. It's really vital to get this right because if your application is submitted to the, let's say, incorrect embassy, it, along with your fees, will likely be returned, usually with guidance on where you should resubmit.
Okay, that's clear. So beyond strategically picking the right embassy, what kind of documentation truly makes your application stand out? What strengthens your case?
Proving your financial stability and presenting strong, meticulous documentation are absolutely paramount, really key. Embassies look for several core items. Firstly, recent bank statements, usually from the past 3 to 6 months, and they need to clearly reflect sufficient funds. Generally speaking, we're talking around maybe 2 to 3 lakh minimum as a guideline. Secondly, confirmed but ideally refundable, flight and hotel bookings are highly recommended. This shows concrete plans without, locking you in completely if something changes. And thirdly, a well-structured cover letter. This needs to clearly outline your travel plan, the dates, and the precise purpose of your visit. It's critical. Think of it as your personal narrative for the trip.
Got it. And building on that, what are the standard sort of non-negotiable documents, the ones every single applicant needs to have ready?
Right, the basics. Every applicant must provide a completed and accurately filled application form. That's step 1. You'll need your valid passport, of course, along with recent photos, specifically 35 by 45 millimeters in size. They're quite particular about that. Then naturally, your detailed travel itinerary, along with those hotel and flight bookings we mentioned. And crucially, travel medical insurance. This has to cover a minimum of €30,000, be valid throughout the entire Schengen area, and cover your full stay. And it's good to know that insurance issued by an Indian provider is generally fully accepted.
Okay. Rules and systems, they're always evolving, aren't they?
Yeah.
Especially in international travel. It's absolutely vital to stay ahead of the curve. Are there any significant policy shifts coming up that our listeners really need to be aware of, specifically looking towards 2025?
Absolutely, yes. And this really highlights the importance of adapting to new systems as they roll out. A major change is the EU's new biometric entry-exit system. You might hear it called EES. It's set to fully replace traditional passport stamping by October 2025. So this means that your fingerprints and photo will be digitally captured at every entry and exit point. It's designed to streamline border checks ultimately, but it's a significant operational shift for travelers. Another important development to note. As of July 1st, 2025, Germany specifically will no longer accept informal visa appeals. These were often called remonstration from Indian applicants. Instead, appeals will have to follow more formalized, often digitally submitted legal processes. This really emphasizes the need for getting that initial application as meticulous as possible.
Wow. Okay, so with all these considerations, when is the optimal time for someone to actually apply for their visa? Are there, peak periods to be mindful of, or perhaps times to avoid if possible?
Yeah, applying well in advance is absolutely critical. Can't stress that enough. This is especially true if you're planning to travel during peak seasons, think May through August, and then again December through January. These periods see a huge surge in applications, which, well, it invariably leads to increased appointment wait times and definitely longer processing delays. Ideally, you should aim to submit your application a good 2 months before your intended travel date. Give yourself that buffer.
And what are the typical processing times once an application is actually submitted? How long should someone generally expect to wait for a decision?
Standard processing times are usually between 10 to 15 working days, assuming you're applying in India. However, during those peak seasons we talked about, or perhaps due to specific embassy backlogs, it can certainly stretch out to 30 days. For instance, just as an example, applications submitted in Hyderabad generally take between 12 to 20 working days. But during peak times, yeah, that can indeed extend right up to the full 30 days, so patience is needed.
Does having a history of international travel, maybe particularly to Europe before, does that actually help with a Schengen visa application? And what about securing one of those multi-entry visas? How does someone qualify for that kind of flexibility?
Yes, definitely. Previous travel to Europe, or actually to any visa-regulated country, can absolutely enhance your credibility as a traveler. It sort of demonstrates your track record of adhering to immigration rules. And here's a key insight. Frequent travelers, specifically those who have been issued at least 2 Schengen visas within the past 3 years, they may qualify for multiple entry permits. Now, these can be valid for up to 2 years, which is fantastic, and in some specific, perhaps more established traveler circumstances, even up to 5 years. That offers incredible flexibility for future trips.
Let's shift gears a bit to the practical side of things, the fees. What does a Schengen visa typically cost these days?
Okay, fees. The standard fee for a Schengen visa is currently €90. When you convert that, it's approximately 7,500 to 9,100 zlotys. The exact rupee amount can vary slightly, depending on the exchange rate at the time and the specific VFS location. Children between 6 and 12 years old pay half price, so around €45, and those below 6 years are actually exempt from any fees. There are also some specific categories of applicants, think students on certain programs, researchers, or minors traveling for specific educational or cultural purposes, who might even have their fees waived entirely. And it's important to remember that fees must be paid at VFS, that's the Visa Facilitation Services Center, handling the application for the embassy. Payment can usually be done by cash, card, UPI, or sometimes even a demand draft. Crucially, these fees are non-refundable regardless of whether your application is approved or rejected.
This has been a truly insightful deep dive, really packed with practical, actionable information for anyone who dreams of exploring the Schengen area. We've really covered a lot of ground, haven't we? From strategically choosing the right country to apply to, right down to the essential documents you'll need and understanding the costs involved.
Indeed, and if we try to connect all these pieces back to the bigger picture, I think a successful Schengen visa application, especially looking ahead to 2025, really hinges on proactive, informed planning. It means strategically choosing embassies that perhaps have shown strong approval track records, if your itinerary allows, submitting a complete and thoroughly meticulously well-documented file, staying current on all the policy shifts like the EES, applying well in advance, of course, and where possible, building a credible travel history.
Right. Now, for all of you aspiring Schengen Visa applicants listening, whether you're in India or other countries, let's bring all of this together. Some final critical advice maybe on how to best prepare for that potential visa interview and just ensuring your documentation is absolutely top-notch.
Absolutely. Okay, based on everything we've discussed, here's how I'd suggest you prepare. For the interview itself, if you're called for one, clarity and conciseness are absolutely key. Be really specific about your purpose of is it tourism, visiting family, a business trip. Spell it out. Present a tightly structured itinerary. Detail the cities you plan to visit, the names of your hotels, your planned transport between places. Always bring those confirmed or at least refundable flight and hotel bookings as proof. Definitely highlight any previous travel, especially to Europe or other regulated destinations that builds your profile. Be ready to explain your profession clearly, your income, and very importantly, who is funding the trip. Back this up with recent bank statements or official sponsorship letters if someone else is paying. Crucially, you need to show strong ties to your home country. This could be stable employment, family commitments back home, property ownership, ongoing business projects, anything that clearly demonstrates your intent to return on time. And finally, it's always wise to have a clear backup plan in mind.
Just in case, your visa is rejected or your travel plans suddenly need to shift. Then, for the documentation itself, beyond the financial proof and that compelling cover letter we've emphasized, just double check, triple check everything. Ensure you have your completed application form, your valid passport, the correct recent photos, your detailed travel itinerary, all hotel and flight bookings, and yes, that mandatory travel medical insurance covering the minimum €30,000. Every single detail needs to be accurate and completely up to date. Precision matters here.
Excellent advice. Following these steps, that precision, preparation, and yes, sometimes patience, will certainly put you in a very strong position for your European journey.
All the best with your application. We hope this helps.
Indeed. And we will meet again with another important subject in the next meeting.